Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Podcast Every Day. I'm Emma.
And I'm here with my friend Jack.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Jack, and yeah, we're just here, sitting and talking, as usual.
As usual, yeah, nothing fancy today, just a relaxed conversation.
Exactly. How are you doing today, by the way?
Honestly, I'm doing okay. Not amazing, not terrible, just one of those very normal days.
I like those days. They feel quiet, but in a good way.
Yeah, same. I think normal days are actually the most interesting ones.
So, before we started recording, you said something that stuck with me.
Did I?
Yeah. You said, some days feel better than others, even when nothing special happens.
Oh, yeah, I did say that. I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think it's about the small things we do without really thinking.
Like routines?
Yeah, kind of. Not in a strict or serious way. More like the little habits that shape the day.
That's interesting, because when people hear the word habits, they usually imagine something very intense.
Exactly! Like waking up super early or following a perfect plan?
Which already sounds exhausting.
Very exhausting. But most habits are actually very quiet and simple.
They just sit in the background of your day.
For example, how do you usually start your mornings?
Honestly, I wake up, check my phone for a minute, make some coffee, and then I just sit there for a bit before doing anything else.
That sounds very familiar. I do something similar.
And I've noticed something. If that first 10 minutes feels rushed, the whole day feels rushed.
Yes, exactly. It's like the mood of the morning quietly follows you all day.
And that's when I started realizing how powerful daily habits can be.
Same here. Not because they're big, but because they repeat.
They don't change your life in one day.
They slowly change how your days feel.
I also think we often talk about changing our lives, but we forget that life is made of very normal days.
That's such a good point. If your days don't change, nothing really changes.
Exactly. And habits live inside those normal days.
Another thing I like about habits is that they don't need motivation.
True. You don't wake up motivated every day.
But you still do certain things.
Because they feel familiar.
And familiarity is comfortable.
So maybe the first step isn't changing anything.
I agree. Maybe it's just noticing what you already do.
Like asking yourself, what does my day usually look like?
Without judging it.
Just noticing.
You know, I like how this conversation started. We didn't plan it, but it feels natural.
Yeah, just like habits, actually.
Exactly. They start quietly, too.
All right, let's stay here for a moment.
Yeah, no rush. You know what's funny? We talk about habits like we choose them on purpose, but most of the time they just happen.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. No one really sits down and says, okay, today I'm going to create a habit.
Exactly. They usually start because something feels good or because something feels easy.
Or because it fits into something you already do.
Yes, that's a big one.
When I think about my own habits, most of them were never planned.
Same here. They came from repetition, not decisions.
For example, I didn't plan to drink coffee every morning. It just became part of how I start my day.
And now it feels strange if you don't do it.
Exactly. That's how habits form. They slowly become normal.
I think comfort plays a huge role in that.
Definitely. If something feels uncomfortable, it's very hard to repeat it every day.
That's why big changes don't last.
Yeah, because they ask too much too fast.
Small things don't do that. They ask almost nothing.
I remember trying to change too many things at once. New routine, new goals, new rules.
How did that go?
Not well. I kept it for maybe a week, and then everything slowly disappeared.
I've been there too. It feels exciting at first, but it doesn't feel natural.
What actually worked for me was starting with something almost boring.
That's interesting. What do you mean by boring?
Something so small that it didn't feel like effort, like sitting in the same place every evening and just taking a few quiet minutes.
So the habit wasn't the activity itself, but the moment.
Exactly. The habit was showing up.
That reminds me of something I noticed. Small habits don't need motivation.
Yes, they survive even on bad days.
Big habits need energy. Small habits just need presence.
That's such a good way to say it. Another thing about small habits is that they don't feel scary.
True. They don't make you feel like you're changing who you are.
They feel like tiny adjustments, not transformations.
And that's why your brain accepts them. Do you remember a habit that surprised you? Something you didn't expect to stick?
Yeah, actually. I started going to bed a little earlier, just 10 or 15 minutes.
That doesn't sound like much.
It didn't feel like much either, but after a while, my evenings felt calmer.
And then it became normal.
Exactly. Now, when I don't do it, I notice the difference.
I had a similar experience with walking. I didn't plan long walks or anything.
Just short ones?
Yeah, just stepping outside for a few minutes. No goal, no distance.
And that stayed?
It did, because it felt easy and natural.
I think that's the real secret. Habits stay when they don't fight your life.
They need to fit, not replace.
Exactly. You don't build habits by forcing yourself.
You build them by allowing them.
And once a small habit is there, it often opens the door to other small changes.
Yeah, that's true. One calm habit leads to another.
But only if you let it grow naturally.
No pushing. I like that daily habits grow quietly. They don't announce themselves.
You don't feel different right away.
But one day, you look back and think, this is part of my life now.
And that's why small things are so powerful.
Because they last. They don't burn out. They stay with you.
I think if more people understood this, they would be much kinder to themselves.
And more patient. All right. I think this is a good place to pause.
Yeah, we can take it from here next.
You know, there's something we haven't really talked about yet.
Let me guess, the part where habits don't go as planned?
Exactly. Because no matter how small or easy a habit is, at some point, it breaks.
Yeah. And when it does, people usually blame themselves.
Which is interesting, because breaking a habit is actually very human.
I've noticed that habits usually don't disappear suddenly. They fade.
That's such a good word for it. They fade quietly.
You skip one day, then another, and suddenly you realize you haven't done it in weeks.
And then comes that moment where you think, well, I guess that habit is gone. Why do you think we stop, though? Is it boredom, pressure, life, or all of it?
Honestly, I think it's often disappointment.
Disappointment with what?
With ourselves. We expect habits to change how we feel quickly, and when they don't, we quietly lose interest.
That makes sense. It's like starting something with high expectations and normal energy.
Exactly. But habits don't work well with high expectations.
They prefer patience. I once stopped a habit simply because I missed 3 days in a row.
3 days?
Yeah, in my head, it felt like a failure.
That's actually kind of funny. Not in a bad way, but because we treat habits like fragile glass.
Right? As if missing a few days completely destroys everything.
I did something similar. I remember thinking, if I can't do it perfectly, why do it at all?
Ah, yes, the classic all or nothing mindset.
Which is honestly one of the biggest habit killers.
Here's a question for you. Do you think habits break because life gets busy, or because we stop being gentle with ourselves?
That's a really good question. I think life gets busy, but what really breaks the habit is the guilt afterward.
So the habit doesn't end, the shame does the damage. I also think that habits live inside real life, not ideal schedules.
Yes, habits don't exist in calm, perfect days only.
They have to survive tired days, messy days, and days where nothing goes right.
Do you remember a habit you stopped and later returned to?
Yeah, actually, more than once.
What made you come back?
Not motivation, it was familiarity.
That's interesting.
The habit felt like something I already knew, not something new I had to start again.
I've had that too. Coming back felt easier than starting from zero.
Because you're not really starting over.
You're continuing just after a pause.
I think people underestimate the power of returning.
Yes, coming back quietly is much stronger than starting loudly.
That sentence should be written somewhere.
Another thing that helped me return to habits was removing the pressure to catch up.
Oh, that's a big one.
No, trying to make up for lost days. No doubling effort.
Just stepping back in. Sometimes I joke with myself and say, okay, welcome back. No questions asked.
I love that. It sounds like how a good friend would react.
Exactly. Not like a strict teacher.
What do you think about restarting habits differently, not the same way as before?
I think that's actually very healthy. Sometimes the habit needs to change with you.
Yes! A habit that worked 6 months ago might not fit your life now.
And that doesn't mean the habit failed.
It means you changed, which is allowed, by the way. Very much allowed. Let me ask you something a bit personal. Have you ever avoided restarting a habit because you were afraid it wouldn't last again?
Absolutely. There's a kind of fear there.
Fear of disappointment?
Exactly. But eventually I realized that avoiding it didn't protect me anyway.
I think that's the turning point, when you realize habits aren't promises. They're experiments.
I really like that idea.
You try, you pause, you return. No drama.
And sometimes the habit that comes back is softer than before.
Yes! More realistic, more forgiving. If we had to say one thing about broken habits, what would it be?
That breaking doesn't erase progress. And I'd say this, returning matters more than consistency. That feels like a good place to breathe for a moment.
Yeah. This part always needs a little space.
All right, let's take this feeling with us into the next part.
Yeah, there's still more to talk about.
You know, Jack, while we were talking earlier, I started thinking about how different real life is from the life we imagine when we talk about habits.
Oh yes, that difference is very real. In our heads, life looks calm, clean, and well-planned. But when the day actually starts, things rarely go that way.
Exactly. In our imagination, we wake up with energy, we have time for everything, and nothing unexpected happens.
But in real life, mornings are often rushed, plans change, and sometimes the day feels heavy before it even begins.
I think many people create habits for their perfect day.
That's true. We often think, when my life is calm, I will do this every day.
But life doesn't wait to become calm.
It keeps moving, even when we feel tired or confused.
Let me ask you something. When you imagine your ideal habits, do you imagine doing them on a busy day or on a very relaxed day?
Honestly, always on a relaxed day. I imagine quiet mornings and no stress at all.
Same here, but most days are not like that.
Real life is full of small problems. Maybe you sleep late. Maybe you feel low. Or maybe the day simply doesn't go as planned.
And when that happens, ideal habits feel too big. They feel like extra work. I think real habits need to be flexible. They need to change shape depending on the day.
Yes, like water. They move around the day instead of fighting it.
That's a nice way to say it.
I used to think that a good habit meant doing the same thing in the same way every single day.
I thought that too. If I didn't do it perfectly, I felt like I failed.
But real life doesn't like perfection.
Some days you have a lot of energy and habits feel easy.
Other days, just showing up feels enough.
And both days are real life.
I also think people feel pressure because they see perfect routines online.
Yes, everything looks clean and successful. But we don't see the tired days or the days they skip everything. Let me ask you another question. Do you think habits should push us or support us?
Support us, for sure. If a habit makes your day harder, it won't stay for long.
I agree. Good habits should feel like help, not like punishment.
Real life habits are often small and quiet. They don't look impressive, but they stay, and that's more important.
I've learned that habits don't need perfect timing. They just need a place in your day, even a very small place, especially on busy days. When real life gets messy, habits should become lighter, not disappear. They can become shorter, slower, or simpler, and that's okay.
I think ideal habits are very strict, but real habits are kind. They understand that life changes. This way of thinking makes habits feel less scary and more friendly, like something that walks with you. So maybe the real goal is not to live an ideal life, but to build habits that fit real life.
Exactly. This conversation actually makes me smile. It feels lighter, less pressure.
If you're listening right now, maybe just take a second and think about one small thing you already do every day. That might already be your habit.
Thank you for spending this time with us.
We're really glad you're here. And remember, real life is enough. Your pace is enough.
All right, let's end here.
Take care, and we'll see you next time.